In the previous lesson, we have learned the basics of a matrix, wherein we learned how do we create a matrix, or you can say multidimensional array. Then we learned how do we initialize it and how do we access elements, right? If you want, you can also read the elements into a matrix from the user at the runtime. It's the same code, like you require 2 for loops and a scanf. Now in this session, what we'll try to do is we'll try to access the elements, perform some calculations, and then put it back into an array. Like for example, here we are trying to store the marks of various subjects for multiple students, wherein the first 4 columns basically represents the marks of what is scored in different subjects. The 5th column is basically the sum of all the marks. Now, the sum I don't want to initialize by hard coding the values. Instead, I want to calculate it and store it as the 5th element of each row, right? Okay, or you can also call this as like row sum, but the result is stored in the 5th column, right? Okay, now here is the array where you have the data which is initialized, and here was the code to print the elements, right? So in between, we have to do a code which is similar to this. We have to access the elements of each of the rows. Remember, for each of the rows, the number of rows is same, but the number of columns is like we need to first access the 4 columns, not the 5th one, right? Because 5th one we need to place it. The first 4 columns we have the data, so that is why we basically say this is 4, right? Okay, then next thing what we should do it is we need to access the elements. We'll write sum equal to 0 and we'll set sum equal to sum plus. So you access by saying marks of I of j, right? So this will do the calculation of sum of the first 4 elements of a row. Then I need to place this as the 5th element of that row. So what should I write? I should write marks of ith row and last column, right? 5th column has the index 4 equal to sum, right? Remember, if you want, you can avoid this variable where I could directly use this particular variable, right? I could just copy this and then let us say if I just paste it here and if I paste it here, then I don't require this statement, I don't require this statement, right? Okay, but I would preferably write this so that we can get to know that we are doing the calculation properly and then we are trying to place it. Fine. Okay, then I'd like to stop. That's it, nothing more, right? Let's quickly run this program. Before we could run this, we'll try to analyze what should be the output. The output for the first row should be 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 is, it should be 10, right? But here it should be 6 plus 7 is 13, 13 plus 8 is 21, 21 plus 9 should be 30, right? So same way out here, 5 plus 5, okay, should be 50, right? Okay, let us try to run this and see are we getting the correct output. Just observe the last column carefully, guys, right? The first 4 columns, fine, whatever we have initialized. The last column, 10, 30, 50, right? It's working perfectly fine. Okay, right. So we have done, okay, accessing elements, calculating the row sum and then placing it. Clear? But assume that you want to calculate sum of all the elements, even the 5th row or something, then you can just add up this, right? You can just increase the value from 4 to 5. Clear? Okay, fine, guys. Now, the next task what we'll try to do it is, so we have a matrix wherein you can just observe that each of the rows has the marks and the last column has the total. I want to know subject-wise total. When I say subject-wise total, it is basically column sum, right? I want to perform column sum. So for that, what I like to do it is I'd like to increase the number of rows from 3 to 4, and the 4th row should contain the column sum, right? Okay, right. Now row sum we have done it. I'd like to keep this separate, and column sum I'd like to take it up separately. Now for column sum, remember you have to go column wise. So for the column wise, if you go, the indexes will be like 0 0 for the first column, then the second entry in the in the first column will be, it will not be 0 1, it will be 1 0 2 0 3 0, right, that way, right? So you have to go column wise. Okay, if you want to go column wise, you can just see the incrementing variable should be on the row value, right, and column value remains the same. Clear? So first we'll try to generate the cells in such a way that it should be 0 0 1 0, then 2 0. Then we will, if you can generate that, then accessing is too simple, right? So we can just use the for loop, right? But how many columns you want to move? The number of columns here, let us say this is the number of columns. Please do remember this is number of columns because we are going column wise, right? So it should be number of columns, right? You want to even consider the last column, which is the total sum, then you can just say 5. Otherwise you can just specify 4, right? Now in each of the column, how many rows do we have? Remember, out of 4 rows, the first 3 rows consider the data, fourth one you would like to place the result. Clear? So you can just see, and also let me tell you that this one you want to even perform the sum of even the total marks of each of the student, then we can use it. Otherwise, if you want to leave that blank, you can leave it like this. Fine. Now this part can be same, or to have a better name, we can just write column sum, right? We can have column sum, and after that what we'll try to do it is, we'll just try to calculate this sum. Before we can calculate the sum, we'll try to print the value of ij, right? Percentage d, then I would like to print here, I'd like to print I and j, and I'm not interested in printing the remaining part. So if I'm not interested in executing the remaining part, I can just use the comment, or I can use conditional compilation. I can just write if of 0 and then end if, right? So I just want to, even this one is doing the calculation, but I'm not printing it, but this one is the only thing which will be printed. I'd like to observe this, right? We are printing I and j, right? So that is why, let's quickly observe this once more. 0 0 0 1 0 2, then 1 0 1 1 1 2, 2 0 2 1 2 2, 3 0 3 1 3 2. See, this is running 0 1 2, that's fine. This is running 0 1 2 3, but it should not be in this order, right? It should be reverse, like 0 0 1 0 2 0. For that, just print j and I. Right? 0 0 1 0 2 0, only 3 rows, right? Then go to second column, 0 1 1 1 2 1, second column. Third column, 0 2 1 2 2 2, right? So once we have generated this, then accessing is quite easy. What should we do? We should just write marks of j of I. Please do remember j of I, right? Then add up to column sum equal to column sum plus this, right? And then where should you put this? You should put this in which cell? Row value specified by I, this one, right? So I need to basically place it here. Marks, right? Equal to column sum, right? Observe what should be the row value and what should be the column value, right? We are going this way. So j was basically representing the column, like we just say, even though we are moving 0 1 2 3 column wise, then after that, once the j is stopped, the next value of j where you stopped, that should be the one which should be used. It should be j here and it should be I here. But here you will face a small compilation error. The reason is you declared the variable j out here. It means it can only be used inside the loop. It cannot be used outside this loop. To access it outside the loop, I just need to declare it here, int j, right? Simple. Place it, and then you also want to print it. So if you want to enable this code, just write 1, and then let's try to run this. right? I need to print the last one. I have not printed that. Did you see this? 1 plus 6 is 7, 7 plus 11 is 18, 2 plus 7 is 9, 9 plus 12 is 21, right? 11 plus 13, right? 4 plus 9, 13 plus 14, right? This one we are not updated, but if you even want this also, the sum of this, it can also be always be done, right? Just change it to 5. I hope it is clear. Yeah, if you wanted a much more formatted way, you can just write, like for example, you say for every element I want to have a width of 5, then you can just observe that the data is much more neat and clean, right? Fine. Thank you.